Welcome to a video series or a video that I'd like to do for a while. I've been wanting to do for a while about Unreal Engine because I feel like a lot of people struggle with it, and they really shouldn't. Like it's not a super difficult engine to learn to cheat on. And I actually feel like it teaches you a lot of really important skills that go forward, not just for game hacking, but also just for coding practices in general. Um, as we'll find, like, from our little reversal, Unreal Engine is very based through object-oriented programming. So basically, everything is derived from everything else. It's very easy to find your way around once you actually understand how it works. And that's why it's really important that you understand Unreal Engine for game hacking. Not just for the fact that you'd want to game hack, but for the future, working in a job, like it actually helps a lot to actually understand object-oriented programming. Um, Before we do anything else, I'd like to say that we're gonna be using this for our project today. This is just an SDK dumper maker thing, really useful for Unreal Engine. You can do this yourself too. I'm just not gonna have I'm not gonna take the time to like walk through it. It's really useful if you want to teach this stuff to yourself. And if that is the case, I wouldn't recommend just looking at the source of one of these dumpers because they overcomplicate a lot of things. There's a lot of dumpers, or not even dumpers, just through FName and through Unreal Engine itself, you're able to actually kind of piece together, and that's how, the original people, Knacker and all these people who started SDK generation, the feckless, 20 years ago probably, uh, did it. So, you know, it's very important, and if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of Unreal, I recommend you do that. I already have this downloaded, so that's fine. Additionally, I will say I'm already using a base that I've made. It doesn't really have anything in it. It's very clean, there's very simple. I'll just walk you through it real quick. This is IMGUI. These are my drawing functions. This is the menu right here. Uh, this is like text drawing, box drawing, etc. Um, As far as my global variables, I have window properties. This is how I like keep track of if the window is windowed, like the size, location, a D3 matrix, which you will need for the camera, vectors. Vector 3 is probably like the most useful class in programming, and then just some general global variables. So I have the process ID, the module base, the handle to the process, as this is a user mode process, the target window that we're looking for, window size, and then the window properties as well. Um, my main, all it does is it starts the render and it does my initialization, which we'll go look into in a second. This is just my overlay, uh, basic overlay functions. Got menu drawing, applying the theme, blah blah blah. My precompiled header. This has all the files that you'll ever need. And then just some basic process stuff. So getting the process ID, the module base address, reading, writing, etc. And then updating the window. Here we go, setting the aim key and then checking if the process is active as well. And then this is just a font. So this is everything that we have so far. The first thing that you'll have to do, that I really recommend doing, uh, is checking a look at the game that you have, that you need to reverse today, which in our case is going to be Kovacs. You go browse local files here, binaries Win64, and in every Unreal Engine game, you could get to the executable that way. This is our executable. I already know this is running on Unreal Engine version 4.23, and for that reason, once you get the game engine version, which you can get very easily, you want to go here to Unreal Engine in your Epic Games Launcher, library, and then you add the version. And you need to make sure, we'll just go here real quick and I'll show you. You want to go here, options, editor symbols for debugging is a must. You must check this if you want to reverse Unreal Engine the way that I am currently today. It makes it a lot easier, and you actually get to see what you're looking at, and you don't have to stare at the source, which is very cool. All right. All right. So once you have that installed, the first thing you want to do is you want to open up IDA, because we're going to start reversing the actual game. So we're going to open up IDA 64. We're going to go here. I agree. Blah blah blah. Here's our directory. We're going to open a new thing. We're going to go here, and we're going to go to FPS aim trainer win shipping, Win64 shipping. Open it. There we go. Now, this is going to take a really long time. And while this is working, we should go to Epic Games and launch our Unreal. You're going to go here, you're going to click cancel, this is going to pop up. It'll take a while to analyze this. It'll ask you if you have a PDB, you'll say no, but we're going to go get a PDB that we'll be able to compare with. This will open, new project, and we're going to do shooter game. Is probably the best one. I don't know if it's on here yet, or if it's on, yeah. It doesn't really make a difference. First person shooter works well. Create. This is like what IDA will look like, but you want to let it fully analyze so that it won't take forever. A suggestion when you're doing that is just to close everything. Makes it a little bit faster. Even if you have a really fast PC, it really just doesn't make a difference either. Like, this runs just as poorly on my PC as it does on my laptop. It's kind of funny. Alright, now that we're in here, we need to change our build configuration here to shipping. File again, package project, packaging settings, and we're going to find debug symbols, which I believe is somewhere in here. Packaging, include debug files, so I was right in front of me. And we're going to close this, package project, Win64, Windows 64-bit. And then here, we'll just create a new folder, project, save it, and then it's going to be packaging. This will take a minute, and I'll see you after. Now that our shooter game example is done building, as we can see over here, we have it, and we have the PDB. What we want to do, we can close out of Unreal, and we want to open up another instance of IDA. We're going to go new, blah, 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 go here. We can actually just drag this in. Yep, and notice we have the PDB here. So we'll let it load. And the other one is still analyzing. You can see in the bottom left. And we see it's asking us for our PDB, and we say yes because we do have it. Now we're going to go back here. I also want to just remind you, you want to go here, you want to go segments, rebase program, and you want to go 0x0. Just makes everything a lot easier. Forgot to do that. Just something I like to do, it makes everything easier. And then, because we have the PDB, this will actually take way less time, so they'll analyze around the same. And what you'll notice, I'll show you, if we go here, you can see none of these functions are named. We can't really see like what's actually going on. But if we go over here, what we'll see is that these functions are starting to get filled in with names for the shooter game example. All of these functions, well, it'll keep coming down because IDA is still analyzing, but as you can see, like they're getting filled in with Unreal Engine names. These are source engine names, or not source, but like engine source names that are matching to the Unreal Engine source code. And all of these functions correlate to one in Kovacs or any other Unreal Engine game that you're trying to reverse. Even if it's like Fortnite or Valorant where they have slightly modified Unreal Engine, uh, you'll still get hits on most of these functions, which makes reversing so much easier, and you can actually understand how the engine works. Regardless of if the engine is modified or not, there's still similarities and there's still like a general adherence to core Unreal Engine principles that will always be present no matter what. And that makes it really easy to reverse. That's why, like, when Valorant came out, for example, you had cheaters on it, within the first couple hours. Alright, so the game is finished analyzing an IDA. I should probably specify that you don't really need to rebase the PDB, just the game. It really makes it a lot easier. Um, and yeah, so before we start reversing, there's three things that we really are after. We're after three different pointers. One is the GWorld, which points to the UWorld. The UWorld, as you can see, I have it pulled up in the documentation here, is the global class, I guess, that you can really get almost anything within the engine off of. So you can get the game instance, you can get the game state, all this stuff that we use later down the line to make our ESP, our aimbot, and our hacks. Um, oh, the other PDB is finished. So yeah, so we're looking for the UWorld or the GWorld pointer. And the other two things we're looking for the global names, which is just an FName pool. It's just literally an array of just names. And those, each name correlates to an object. And the other thing we're looking for is called GObjects, which is an array of objects that each correlate to a name. And if we have all of them, we're able to kind of know exactly what's going on within our engine, which is what we need in the end. Our goal here is to make an SDK which we can include in our project, which we can use to understand the offset of everything within our game. And that makes making a cheat for Unreal Engine a breeze, uh, and actually really fun. And you can kind of get very creative with what you're doing and how you get to your desired conclusion. So yeah, so I would recommend starting up a notepad file real quick. GName. So we know we're looking for GWorld, GNames, and then GObjects. All right. So first things first. When we're looking for the GWorld, there's only a few kind of places you can find it. One is through this function getWorld from context object. There's a few others, but this is the one that I usually use. Where is it? And you can search here. We can just like imagine this is up. You can literally search getWorld, and then we have getWorld from context object, which I recommend the UEngine version. It's usually a little bit better. And then we're gonna scroll down, and you can see GWorld is right here. You can check the xrefs. It's in these other functions too. But this is the global world. Yeah, here you can see it right here, GWorld proxy. So yeah. So, but having the GWorld address in the PDB isn't really going to help us because we're not trying to make a cheat for the PDB. So the easiest thing to do, and this is why the PDB is so helpful, is because you can create a signature with SigMaker, and you're then going to plug that back into your game, and you'll be able to get the URL for your desired game. And this works for literally everything. There's a few other ways to do it. You can do it through string searches, but I personally find this is the easiest way, and it works for almost everything. It's really great. So yeah, so we're going to copy our signature here. We're going to go on over to FPS Aim Trainer. We're going to copy it. We're going to put it in. I already done this before, but I'm just showing you. You're going to go here. We have one hit. And then you can see this looks like a very similar function. You can see no road passed in. This looks like the F memory free. Yeah. And then this is going to be our UWorld. And because we rebased to 0, this is our exact offset. So it's FPS Aim Trainer plus, or .exe plus this. And that's our UWorld offset. So what we're going to do is we're just going to save that. Because we know that's what we have. Now, that's easy enough. Next thing that we need to look for is the GName offset. So, good thing, there's always a function called FName toString. There's a few of them. They all call each other. It's very simple. Here we have an FName pool call, and this is creating from this offset. Now FName pools, as we talked about before, it's just that massive array of FNames, and this is more than likely our GNames object. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a sig, and we're going to see if we can get a hit. Now, not every time we get a hit. We're going to search, and we got one hit here. looks like it's calling here, and that will be the call into this function, and this is going to be our fname, as we can see here. So we're going to copy this, and you may ask like how I know. I'm going to show you, and I'm going to prove to you how. But just for the sake of this tutorial, this is our fname. You can back this up through Unreal Engine source code, as well as many other things. Yeah. But you can see this is them creating a massive pool of names. And in the fname pool, when you're actually looking at it, it begins non-byte property, in property. It begins with all these, and then it will go into the actual classes that are in your game. So yeah, so we know that this is this. Now, objects are next. There's a few places where you can get it. You can actually get it, like if you look get object of class, there's a few places where you can get it. I'm actually not sure. I've been a while, so we're gonna actually find it right now together. Get object name. No, it doesn't look right. This isn't it. Get object with outer. They'll all have a call to get object. This might be it. I'm just gonna keep looking. Get object name, we pass in the object here. Doesn't look like it's really, nothing's really being done. Get object name. Still not the This must be it. This is it. Alright. Okay, so yeah, so this is definitely the GObjects. Basically, I was looking through it. You really want to be looking for something that looks like it's walking an array. And this you can see v2 will always be increasing. Um, it's just passed in like where we're looking for in the cluster of objects. And this is walking the entire cluster of GObjects, as you can see here. The other ones that I was looking at, none of them were like walking an array like this was. I just kind of looked at it, I saw like a pointer. But yeah, as you can see, we found it. This is most definitely it. Um, and yeah, well, tag sub-object, you can see actually, yeah, where is it? Uh, was it this one? Yeah, GetObjectCluster. As you can see, every single thing that accesses, we can see like get tagged. There's something later. Tag some objects. This is just like walking it too in different ways. So yeah, so this is definitely our GObjects. And we're gonna just create a sig now. It's small, we'll see if it hits. We got one hit here. And yeah, as you can see, the way that you walk the GObjects is kind of different for every game. But yeah, this is definitely our GObjects. Cool. Now, looking at these is actually really cool. If you look at them through reclass, you can see like a big array of these objects. And I actually really recommend doing that if you want to learn more about Unreal Engine. But for the sake of this tutorial, I really just kind of want to show the importance of the SDK. So yeah, so we're pretty much done with IDA. I'll leave these open, but we really don't need them. Uh, so yeah, we'll close everything here. And then we want to shift our attention to the dumper that we have. So I'll move this onto our desktop. Close that, get rid of this. We're going to open this in Visual Studio. And yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a like user defined. I haven't used Spuck's thing in a while. Uh, it's yeah, user defined offsets. So yeah, so what you're gonna want to do here is you're gonna want to put your address of your GWorld. So we're gonna do that here. He makes this like so easily, it's crazy. GNames, you want to do the same thing. Oh, I just did that for GWorld. Offset GWorld. You want to put that there. Offset GNames. We're gonna go here. Do the same thing. I just did GObjects. Whatever. Yeah. So we all make mistakes. Okay, so I actually made a mistake and thought that we were on 4.23. We're actually on 4.26. So yeah, just set your version as 4.26 or whatever version you're using. You can check with the properties on the Win64 shipping. And then everything else is pretty vanilla because we don't really need anything special. Like FName encryption is for Fortnite. All this stuff is like for different versions of Unreal. But typically we're good with just the vanilla stuff with a game like GObjects. So yeah, so we're just gonna compile, run it, and here we go. We have this cute little interface, I guess you could say. And then aim trainer, we're just gonna call it. We're gonna create FPS aim trainer. This is case sensitive, I believe. Shipping.exe. And then we're gonna find. We found the process. We're gonna dump the game. And yeah, if it works, you know that it's doing that, and it'll generate all of this. As you can see, this is literally every. Well, I guess you could say like package they call them. And these are classes within the game, as you can see, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so we're gonna generate an SDK here, which is really nice. There you go. And yeah, we can close this now. We don't really need it much anymore. We're gonna open up the folder now. And yeah, as you can see, we have aim trainer SDK, and this is our full SDK. So it's actually really useful. So yeah, I heavily recommend. I recommend opening this in Visual Studio Code. We're just gonna open folder. Yeah, we're gonna go here, select folder, and this is the entire SDK, as you can see. This is really nice. Searching the whole thing is really cool. Go GWorld, class GWorld, go here, go to your definition, and this is your GWorld class. So basically, if you read this GWorld pointer, you're going to be directed to an instance of this class where you can get to pretty much everything in the engine. You have your game state, which you can use to get to players. You have your levels, your persistent level, which is right here. You have an array of levels. I don't know where exactly, somewhere down here. Yeah. And yeah, this is really, really useful, especially when you're trying to make your hacks. So yeah, so now that we have this, we can start working on our cheats. Okay, before we actually start our cheat officially, I also just want to like put some focus because we will need this for our actual cheat. Um, when it comes to iterating through the FNames in our actual code. Um, and it's probably just best to do this now before we leave IDA for good. So we know that this is our FName, so I'm just going to rename it to FName pool. And as you can see, we set like v5 to that too, so I'll just like copy that, put it there. So as you can see, we're indexing the FName pool here. This is just FName 2 string. We're indexing the FName pool here plus index of 2. And because we know that FName pool, this is in 64, we're going to multiply this by 8 because basically when we're indexing like an array of 8, we have to actually, like, because we're indexing through memory, so it doesn't know that we're indexing an array of in64s, and if we did one by one, we would go byte by byte, where these guys are going 8 by 8. So we need to stay on their track. So basically, just going over here, we're gonna create a little split screen. Go over here, and we're just gonna do void get name, or we can just do a C string. Get name from FName. And then we're just going to take an int key because that's what they're taking in when they have A1 over here, which they're setting to V3. So we can say that V3 is the key. So key plus 2, and then we know that that's times 8. So int pointer underscore t. And we're just going to move this to the side. We're just going to name this first entry. Entry equals, this is just my normal function for reading. And we're going to read the int pointer. And the address that we're reading here is the FName pool, because we have the base. We're just going to create a global variable for now. We'll come back to this later. This isn't permanent. But we're reading FName pool plus 2 times 8. Sorry, plus key plus 2 times 8. Alright, and then we also take in the size, and we're reading just the size of first entry, just for error checking, helps me. You don't need that. Alright, cool. And then we also have a second read here, as you can see, v9. I believe this is the second index of the chunk. Just taking a look. Let's go look at a different place where it's indexed. Just keep looking. This is part of the process, you gotta know. Just keep looking. Alright, here we go. I believe this is actually like get name from get name from FName as well. Yeah. Alright, so as you can see, and then they shifted by 6. And then with v7, this seems to be the string here. Yeah, and then 2 for the wide. Okay. Okay, so I actually messed up, and I'm just here to redo it. So yeah, so we have the FName pool, and this is our address. And we actually need to analyze how we're reading the string here, because we know that this is getting a string because it's get name. We have here, we have char is reading here. We're reading +2. We know that this is the FName pool because it's set here. So the index of v3 plus 2 in the FName pool is the first part of our read. So v3 we know is the high word of the key, and we know this is a key. So the way to get a high word, because it's the first 4 bytes, we have to eliminate the last 4 bytes. And so we're going to shift this right by 16 because that's 16 bits, 4 bytes, so we get the high 4. So what we're going to do, we're going to start by this. Int, and this is going to be the chunk key, equals, we're going to just cast this unsigned int key, and we're going to shift this right by 16 bytes, or 16 bits, or 4 bytes, giving us the high. Cool. So this is not going to be the key. This is going to be the chunk key. And as you can see, we know that because, yeah, v3 plus 2. Cool. And then we have the times 8 for the same reason I explained earlier. Okay, and then we also do have to add the mod base here, plus mod base. Cool. All right, now that's our first entry, and then we have this plus unsigned int 2 times v11. Now we can see v11 is the 16 in 16 of this, which is the key as well. So this is going to be the index within the chunk, I believe. So what we're going to do is we're going to do unsigned, or we're going to do in 16 index key equals in 16 of the key. Cool. So now we're going to do unit pointer name entry equals so it's 2 times this plus what we just have. So we have first entry plus 2 times the index key. And that should give us the location of the name. And as you can see, we shift this by 6 here, but let's see, v6 is our name address. As you can see, yeah, we shift the address of the name by 6 here. Let's copy into this function real quick. As you can see here, this is once again like the address where it is. They shift it by 6 here, and then there's the mem copy. And so mem copy, the format typically is your destination, your origin, and then your size. So we can say that this is the name length, and then we know that this is the output, and we can see here, so it makes sense. So that would mean that this is our string. So our string is at the address a1 plus 2, or name entry plus 2. So, and we know our name length is like that. So, okay, so we're going to do int name length equals name entry, name entry, and we're going to shift that by 6. Very cool. And give me a second. This is a 16. So it's actually going to be in 16. Yeah. Just thinking. Just looking. This, because look, we have 2 asterisks here, so this is an internal read. So this is actually going to be yes, we're just going to keep this as the entry offset. But this over here, the name entry, which is what we have here, and then we shift, we're gonna do this. This is an int16, so we know we're reading that, equals, we're gonna actually have to read this, read int16, size of name length, and then we're gonna shift that by 6. And that's correct, because you can see here, this is a read internally. And then the actual name address seems to be at +2. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do read process memory, we're gonna do the handle, and then we're gonna do byte pointer. This is just typical read process memory. We're gonna do byte pointer, name entry +2, as we can see we're falling over here. And then we're gonna put this, we need a buffer, so we're just gonna do a char pointer buffer equals new char, and we're gonna have to make sure we destroy this. And then we have the name length now, so we can just make a length for the string. It's pretty cool. So we have the name length, or we have the buff, and then name length. Cool. And then null, I believe, right? Yep. Okay. Cool. So now that we have this, we can turn this into an SD string. Name equals buff, and then we can delete our array so that we don't cause a memory leak. And then we should be able to just return our name. Cool. Nice. Now if we just go in here and we do for int I equals 0, I is less than, let's just do like 64, I++, we're just going to print these out. IMGUI text, sorry, index, and I believe because this is an older version of Unreal Engine, we're going to have overlap. So we'll see I, and then we're going to do get name from FName, and then we're going to do from key I. Cool. And yeah, so then we're just going to run that, see what happens. Should be pretty good. Yeah, and as you can see, none int property, it should like correct. And yeah, this won't be a problem. I know it's like jumbling around. We could actually fix this with here. Name, we could take the substring equals substring let's see, and yeah, that should fix a lot of that, some of it. Int property. But yeah, as you can see, like for the ones where it matters, like we're never going to be directed to one of these broken ones. So the ones that do work we have here. So none, byte property, int property, bool property, etc. We all know they work, or we can see that they work. Name property, you get it. So yeah, so we can see that our FName is working. Sorry, I know that took a while because just figuring this stuff out sometimes. It's been a while for me too. Just, yeah. Alright, so now that we know that we have working FName2 string, we can kind of just tuck this away. And it's also good practice to add this with our engine.h. FName, key. Cool. Okay, so that will probably be the end of our first tutorial. In the next step, we'll go through actually using this information to walk through actors and actually walk through the GWorld and probably build like some form of a memory reader, but not a full-fledged cheat yet. That'll probably be in part 3. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, let me know. Thanks. Yeah.